Hello, everyone.
And welcome to the 07 show. I'm sorry, I tend to break out in Kung Fu sometimes.
It happens.
Yeah, but we have a lot of cool stuff to talk about tonight. We are going to talk about the Blood Raider shipyards. Yes,
we have interviews with both developers and players that have been involved in both in the recent Blood Raider Sotillo spawning events and what's been happening and all the drama that's around all of that. And of course, we're also going to be talking to our art department about one of the most recent ship redesigns, which is quite spectacular.
Yeah, it's really like a deep dive into the mind of an artist making a spaceship for you, and it's one of the most beautiful redesigns I've seen in a long time. So really look forward to that. And then, of course, we're going to be talking about what's been happening in the community, what you guys have been up to, and we have some things to show you as well. So all kinds of things. So can't wait for that.
Yes, but let's not tell you all the details right now. Just sit back and relax and enjoy the show. And while you sit there, we are going to be giving away Gnosis Midnight skins. And all you need to do to be able to win one is just be a part of chat. You don't need to say anything or do anything, just interact with chat.
Enjoy the show. And then we have Razer headsets from our friends at Razer, who are amazing. And we want you guys to come up with a slogan for Twitter. Do this on Twitter, use the 07 show hashtag, and come up with a great slogan for the 07 show. We'll pick one or two we like, and we'll give away some Razer headsets.
Yeah, great. But the last time we saw you was, of course, at FanFest, which is 3 days full of spaceships and friends and spaceship friends and all of that. Yeah. And so we just want to dive back just a few months ago to go back and look at FanFest from a different perspective. And we have spoken to the fiancée of CCP, Sid, who is a vlogger, and she has created a video about her perspective of FanFest from a non-EVE player. And so with the help of CCP Lilu, they have put together this video. We hope you like it.
Hey guys, I'm Sonia and I am not a gamer. I don't really know what EVE Online is, and I've actually never played an online game before. But in saying that, I have been to FanFest twice now. Last year I vlogged showing my side of it, and CCP picked up on this. You see, there's parts of it that I love and find really interesting, so they've asked me to share some of that with you. So let's get into it. FanFest is held in Harpa, which is one of my favourite buildings here in Reykjavik. Even though I'm not a gamer, I can still appreciate the games. The designs and the graphics, stories and battles.
This is where your legend begins.
And the new technologies, such as VR headsets. People get really into it, having their hair and makeup done. It's amazing. There's some people dressed up in costume, and other brave people having a tattoo done. It's a unique social event where players from all over the world gather. We have now joined in with the pub crawl, even though in the game they battle and sometimes blow each other up. At FanFest, they're friends. It's a great community, it's really fun, and I enjoy being part of it.
The capacitor is empty.
Welcome to the news at 07.
April was a hard month for the leadership of Star-Tide Industries. Both the CEO and the ex-CEO fell sick, and then the cat died. We don't know which of their cats. Maybe they had one together, but it's sad regardless of the residency of the cat. And on top of all this, the corporation was switching alliances and moving. But Doc Horizon and Sergeant Relic stepped up and kept the corporation running smoothly. And this is a shout-out from the friends in-game that we were asked to deliver. Good job, guys.
Eve PI is an app for Android made by David Edwards to help players manage their planetary interaction operations. If you're into squeezing planets for their resources, the app is available for free from the Google Play Store, so try it out.
Evathon is a charity streaming event taking place on the weekend of June 16th through the 18th. The event is organized by Rain and Scared Panda with assistance from Raiden Harmon and Equalizers 11. They'll be supporting Able Gamers, an organization which helps gamers with disabilities play and enjoy games. To support a great cause and have a lot of fun, because it's going to be a good stream, go to the Evathon channel right now and follow it.
Gustav Manfred runs a YouTube channel where he specializes in high-damage ships and prefers to use polarized weapons to dispatch of his enemies, or scratch their hulls as his last revenge. That sort of all-or-nothing attitude is always fun, so go out and check out his channel and subscribe if you like what you see. Now on to some player gatherings. Last weekend, myself and CCP Larrikin had the pleasure of attending the first official FanFest. Although several Finnish groups have had smaller gatherings in the past, this was the first one open to all and any. The event was nothing short of fantastic, seeing about 70 spaceship pilots plying the high seas aboard a cruise ship between Turku in Finland and Stockholm in Sweden. There were player presentations, a dev Q&A hour, dinners, chat, and even a pub crawl. I have been informed that the team is already looking into planning another FanFest next year, and we look forward to see what they have in store.
The pilots of Glasgow are having their main event of the year on June 3rd at the Hillhead Book Club in downtown Glasgow. I was there for last year's main event, and it was a great time. If you go out and you stay late, don't let yourself be tempted by the single sausage. Word of advice. More information can be found in the out-of-game gatherings and events section on the e-forums.
EVE Northeast is currently the biggest player-run event in North America and takes place on a camping ground in Pennsylvania. It's an amazing event. CCP Guard was there in 2015, and this year sees some of our colleagues will be there too, so stay tuned for an announcement on that soon. Go grab your tickets at evenortheast.com.
This year, EVE Down Under have made the call to move their event a little further from the other big events this year, EVE Vegas, EVE Amsterdam, and of course, the winter expansion. So this means that for 2017, EVE Down Under will be taking place in July, the 28th and the 30th to the 30th, namely. And the lucky devs that are going and attending in all the way to Australia are CCP Larrikin, CCP Falcon, and CCP Vertex. This is a wonderful event and definitely worth the journey, so go check it out if you can.
One of EVE's oldest player-run gatherings is being revived this summer. On July the 22nd, the Gankathon returns to Copenhagen in Denmark. There's more information on the Out of Games Events and Gatherings forum, and we encourage all Scandinavian pilots to check it out.
The democratically elected Player Council of EVE Online, the Council of Stellar Management, will have their first summit of the term in the third week of August, straight after the Alliance Tournament finals. All 10 members of CSM12 will come to CCP headquarters in Iceland for a 4-day summit, meeting with various EVE teams and producers to both learn about what CCP are thinking and to educate and advise about the wants and needs of the player base.
As announced a few days ago, the details of the Tech 3 cruiser changes coming later this summer have been announced, as have the names of the players selected to be on the player focus group set to help us with those changes. All of the logs from the focus group are public, so check out the devlog released last Friday for details.
Also coming this summer is the much anticipated Project Discovery feature, where you will be able to search for actual exoplanets inside the EVE client and earn some sweet rewards at the same time. If you missed the presentations about it from FanFest, you should go check them out on the EVE Online YouTube channel, and don't forget to subscribe.
And now for the weather.
It's sunny.
Thank you, CCP Nova.
And that's it from the news.
There's something coming in.
Oh.
We've just received a special bulletin apparently a message has been delivered to the O7 show from an unidentified source that wants to make it known that something is about to go down in New Eden very soon. Something pretty serious by the sound of it. There was an accompanying message that came with it. It sounds to be some sort of a limerick. I don't know. I'll try to repeat this. There once was a flagship called Pegasus. When tasked with a quest quite rigorous, took a fleet to a far-off area, poked into a swarm much scarier, which ate them over protests most vigorous. Yeah, that's all we have. I hope some of you can read something into this, but we'll keep you posted. So stay tuned and follow our channels for more information on what's happening soon. But that's it for the news. We'll see you later.
Hi and welcome back to the studio. As we were just saying, I have recently been at a player gathering, FanFest, and there I met a very interesting player called Saber Pilot, who was trying to decide whether or not he should go to Vegas. And so, of course, I could tell him about the Marshall, the Concord destroyer that all of the Vegas attendees will get, and also the fact that anybody who's anybody, like your good self and my good self, will be there. But I believe you're probably in a better position to explain why Vegas is so much better, because you've just come back from there.
Yes, I actually just came from Las Vegas, and I went on a trip with CCP Curtis and CCP Ruffage, who are event managers here at CCP, and we went there to kind of scope out the possibilities for Vegas that is taking place in October 6th to the 8th. Tickets are on sale at vegas.eveonline.com. And what we learned on this trip was a lot, actually. We went to see a bunch of nightclubs for the party on Saturday, the main party, to scope out the best options for you guys. We want to see a lot of restaurant managers and salespeople from the hotel to organize all sorts of details for like how we can use the venue and all that stuff. So all this is like the hotel that we're staying at is nailed down. It's the Link Hotel and Casino, very nicely located on the Strip in Las Vegas. Best location I've probably seen there. It's just very nice, and I really like the hotel. The conference area is very cool, nice. Everything is like refurnished and just very sleek and awesome. And what I really like about the hotel as well is that it's more compact. Not to say that it's small, but going places in Planet Hollywood always took a bit of time because it's a really big hotel and it's easy to get lost in it. There, you can kind of like, in the Link, you can kind of just walk out of your room, go downstairs, and you can walk right to the bars and restaurants that are on the first floor, or out to the street where there's like a whole street owned by the hotel that is like has like outside seating for nice restaurants and bars. You can sit there in spacious areas in the sun, having beers with your friends, and it's
there will be sun at that time of year.
Absolutely.
I mean, and also it's Vegas.
Beautiful
it's always
in October.
summer,
All the locals told us it's the best time of year because they don't go out in the summertime much. It's nice in October. And yeah, so we scoped out a bunch of nightclubs. We're probably moving the main party from the Chateau, where we've been for the last 3 years, I think. It's a really nice club, but it's getting small. Vegas is getting bigger and bigger. We might actually sell out pretty fast this year. Ticket sales have been way faster than before. That's not a sales pitch. That's just statistical facts. And yeah, so we're looking at some really nice nightclub options. We looked at like 12 clubs. They all have different like
it's a tough
pros and
job,
cons.
hey?
Yes, it's a tough job. Yes, lots of pros and cons. Some of them are like have outside areas. Some are only inside. Some are a mix. Some are big, some are small. Some will let us stay late. Some will let us stay late, but with other guests, and watch some like amazing shows with artists without paying anything extra. You know, big names coming to these clubs. So we got some options, and we are going to make the best choice for you guys, and we'll tell you about that soon. Yeah, it was a really fruitful trip, I would say, and Vegas is going to be amazing this year. We're making some really good changes and trying to make it better and better.
Okay, but I believe you actually, all of those thoughts and all of the things that you've just experienced, you put into a video.
Yes.
So let's take a look at that.
To scout locations and opportunities for you guys for Vegas 2017. It's going to be bigger and better than ever, and we have to make sure it's absolutely perfect for you guys. I'm trying to convince my dog to let me go. Tina, can I Can I go?
Cargo hold packed with big fat lyrical bombs. I'm the captain of the best ship in the universe. It was built by my space friends around the world. The friendship takes me where I need to go. It can fly super fast or bounce really slow. It's got a lot of room for my homies in the back. It's a fact I can dance all alone to this track. That's why we fly around the galaxy. X up for the fleet if you wanna party.
Setting course for the club, paging the pleasure hub. Like it or not, we're about to drop hot. When I say 4, you walk to the dance floor. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Walk to the dance floor. Throw your motherfucking hands in the air like this and walk to the dance floor. Jump around all night with your space friends. Walk to the dance floor. Carry on all night. Pleasure hub is alright. Walk to the dance floor. Jump up for the pyramid.
Our flagship is the friendship. Get your feet on the floor and defend it.
Show up, gun cock, target lock, take the shot, never hesitate, never give a second thought. Ship up, capsule here, comes clear, no fear. Come grab a beer, all your best friends are here. Even that alpha comet quit last year. Good lord, we don't know where we go after show. Stick with the fleet, go with the flow. Try to keep up to the best of your ability until we all come.
This is CCP Guard reporting in from the link in Las Vegas. I'll see you in October.
Motherfucking hands in the air like this and walk to the dance floor.
Coming up later this summer is the 15th Alliance Tournament, and so CCP Guard had a chat with CCP Logibro and CCP Fozzie about what to expect this year.
Now we're going to talk about the Alliance Tournament. And with me, I have two guys who are essential in making that happen. Welcome, CCP Logibro and CCP Fozzie.
Yeah, thanks. Glad to be here.
Good to be here.
So, if we start with just explaining, like, what are your roles on the tournament specifically?
So, my role in the tournament is I'm the tournament director. I'm essentially the overlord, and I organize most of the things. Like, in the lead up to the tournament, I will be taking sign-ups, I will be running Thunderdome, which is where our teams will be practicing, and I will be overall responsible for how the tournament operates and how all the various pieces work together. So, the broadcast and the tournament itself.
Okay.
Yeah, and I help write the rules every year. I'm one of our referees and also one of our commentators for the broadcast.
Okay. And and for people who may be new to EVE and are not familiar with the Alliance Tournament, real quickly, what is the Alliance Tournament?
So the Alliance Tournament is essentially the ultimate organized PvP event that we have each year. And where organized PvP is different in that we have... In TQ, we generally have a lot of people PvPing all over the place. Organized PvP is much more structured with a particular set of rules. Like you can bring these ships, you can bring up to this many of it, you can use these particular items, and you have essentially a pitched match against another team. So another way in which the Alliance Tournament varies from other sorts of organized PvP that we have throughout the year from community groups, for instance, such as EVE-NT, is that it's run on Tranquility. So all of the ships that people are fielding and blowing up and all of those rounds of ammo, that's stuff that people have had to earn themselves.
So the risk is real.
Oh, the risk is very real.
These teams generally have whole alliances behind them, supporting them.
Yeah. So this year's tournament takes place when?
So the tournament itself starts on July 29, with the grand finals happening on August 20. And it'll be running through the weekends all the way through there. However, this year we have added a set of feeder rounds for the main tournament itself. Teams will be competing on the 10th and 11th of June to get into the actual tournament.
Okay, so plenty of summer entertainment coming up, and we might see some new heroes coming out of the feeder tournament.
Of course, definitely some new blood there, looking to make their mark in tournament history.
Yeah. So the rules of the tournament are, designed to shape how the matches get fought and also how players behave, and they change every year. I mean, what's what's new this year? What makes the tournament this year special?
So every year we make a lot of changes to the point values of different ships, which determine what ships people can bring and how many of them and the different distributions of ships on the teams. This year we've taken some of the ships that were very popular in previous years, like battleships and faction battleships, logistic ships, and made them more expensive, while making some other ships like recon ships, Tech 1 battle cruisers, Tech 1 combat cruisers cheaper. We think that's going to have a pretty big effect on what types of comps people bring out. This year is also sponsored by the Serpentis Corporation, which means that the Vindicator, the Vigilant, and the Daredevil, the Serpentis faction ships, are all cheaper, so we're going to see a lot of them.
Okay, that's pretty exciting. Those are amazing ships. I'm a big fan. So.
We've also got changes to what modules people are allowed to bring. For instance, you can now use Tech 2 combat drones again, the mobile combat drones, not the sentries. And in the last 2 weekends, each team's going to have 3 bands in each match instead of the normal 2.
Okay.
That's that change in particular. I'm looking forward to seeing the results of. That's a big change from the tournament meta in the past.
Because we've got some big changes on TQ to Tech 3 ships coming up, we've actually decided not to allow Tech 3 ships to fit remote logistics modules in this tournament, because we're going to be making those significantly more powerful, and we need some time to see how that shakes out before we throw them into a tournament environment. But because we've banned that, we are now once again re-allowing you to fit 1 capacitor transmitter per ship.
Okay,
so
cool.
will be able to open up some new tactics in that direction.
Yeah, that's a big change too. So when you're making these changes to the rules and the rule set of the tournament, I mean, what is the purpose? Are you reacting to specific tactics or comps in the game that people can bring, or what is it?
In general, we're trying to make sure that the tactics people use from every year to year changes. We get some good variety, both for the viewers and for the people determining what to bring for each team. We want to make sure that the actual meta doesn't get too stale, that people always have a new challenge, a new puzzle to solve.
Because EVE players are pretty good at min-maxing the current situation. I like it. Throwing wrenches into things. That's how you do it. So every year has amazing prizes. Tell us about this year's unique prizes.
Yeah, so every year we introduce a set of special edition faction ships for the tournament prizes. These go to the top teams. This year they're sponsored by the Serpentis Corporation. So these are extremely powerful faction Tech 2 ships. The Victor, which is a faction recon ship, it's the first ship in EVE to have both a web strength and web range bonus in the same ship. And the Virtuoso, which is a special Serpentis faction version of a stealth bomber. It's got all the functionalities of a stealth bomber and all the functionalities of a combat faction frigate all combined into one. These are very, very valuable ships because they're extremely rare. Only 50 of each will ever exist.
Yeah, so I mean, even if they are extremely overpowered, there's a crazy risk versus reward thing when bringing them out to fight. So
yes, indeed.
If you want to use those bonuses.
So even if you don't get in the top 4, which are the teams that get some of those ships, you still cannot get some prizes in the Alliance tournament, because for every match you win, you get 10 limited edition Serpentis victory skins that are only available in the tournament. In addition, if you get to the top 32 or the top 16, you get a Plex prize. So there's plenty to fight for, even if you don't make it to the finals.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And it's very exciting for people to see this. And sometimes we even see people bring these ships into the fight and lose them on the battlefield.
We've seen many Alliance tournament ship die in the Alliance tournament.
And sometimes we see them get stolen as well.
Exactly. Oh, it's crazy. So, I mean, what ways are there for players to interact? I mean, obviously people can watch the tournament at home, fight in the tournament.
So, of course, the biggest way to interact is to be part of one of the teams. So if your alliance is part of the alliance tournament, then you should get in contact with whoever is the captain of your team. And if you're interested in seeing, try out. I mean, it varies from alliance to alliance, how you can get into your team. So talk to your team captain and see what you can do to help your alliance. Maybe even if you don't fly in the alliance tournament, there is as CSB Fozzie was saying before, there is a whole alliance behind these teams, and we mean that literally. Like, the level of logistics for some of these teams is like people flying jump freighters from every corner of the universe, essentially, to keep them stocked during the matches.
And they need elite practice partners. And everything.
You need lots of help. Thunderdome is a great place for teams to practice, but you still need someone to practice against.
Yes. Someone who's good enough to sharpen your skills. For
and maybe help you for future tournaments years to come.
And we have commentators flying in from somewhere.
The commentators are yet to be decided. We are still probably accepting applications as of this goes to broadcast. So if you're interested in commentating on the Alliance tournament here from Reykjavik, Iceland, you should let us know.
Yeah, it's pretty cool because yeah, we're flying actual EVE players who know about the game, and they're coming all the way to Iceland to help us out. It's pretty awesome. I think it's one of the things that makes it super unique. And there's going to be prizes too to be won on the.
Oh yes, of course. So all of the Alliance tournament itself from July 29 will be broadcast on Twitch. The first 2 weekends will be broadcast by EVE NT, and the second 2 weekends will be broadcasted here from this studio in Reykjavik, Iceland.
Yeah.
So during our streams, during the final 2 weekends, you'll be able to win lots of wonderful prizes from Stream Chat. So make sure you're there, and make sure you're watching along, cheering along for your team.
Yeah.
Or at least the guy who beat your team.
Yeah. I love the fact that we actually have a player organization broadcasting the first 2 weekends. They did amazingly last year.
Yeah, they really did.
So yeah, it's going to be great. Finally, do you guys have any sort of predictions for how this tournament is going to play out in terms of tactics? I know it's too early to predict winners, but you know.
Well, there's always a strong possibility of one of the returning teams from the top 16 of Alliance Tournament 14 of making it fairly far through the tournament, but it's not always guaranteed. Sometimes we get a bit of an upset in the earlier rounds and somebody drops out early. Yeah. But as far as tactics, I think we'll probably see a lot of Serpentis ships. We saw a lot of Blood Raider ships last year when we first introduced the theme tournament point reduction rule.
Yeah, I expect we're going to see a lot of blaster ships. It's just going to be a bloody tournament overall, I think.
Yeah,
we've organized the rules even more towards ships that are a bit more offensive, and we think that combined with the Serpentis point reduction is going to mean a lot of explosions.
Yeah, it's going to be offensive content on the Alliance tournament this year. Yes. I can't wait to watch explosions. Anyone who hasn't watched the Alliance tournament, definitely just jump in deep and be with us there. It's fantastic. Good time. Thank you guys so much for organizing this. We're very excited. We can't wait. We'll see you in the feeder rounds in June, and I'll see you guys later.
Base, this is Thrice checking in. Cash in 170717 is good. Moving on.
Can anyone help me? I'm currently stranded in J115026. Normally I just self-destruct, but I installed these implants the other day and I don't want to lose this clone if I can help it.
This is Eve Scout Rescue. We read you. Sit tight. Let me see what I've got that might help.
Ah, that'd be great. Thanks.
Captain, a new search and rescue request has just been received.
Thanks, Allison. Let's go see if it's anything we can help out with.
There is an active rescue request in this system. Please check my monitor for details. Stay alert. There have been several ships destroyed in this system within the past hour.
Got it. Stranded vessel, this is Jack from Eve Scout Rescue. I'm in your system and I'll have an exit for you shortly.
Okay, wow, that was fast. You're a lifesaver.
I've got a high-set connection bookmarked for you.
I got it. Warping. I'm out to high-sec. Thank you.
Oh, so glad to be of service. Fly safe.
Greetings, Captain. I'm Allison, your Signal Cartel co-pilot. I am ready to go.
EVE Dublin returns this October 20th and 21st. For tickets and more details, please visit www.evedublin.com.
Around the clock, Around the cluster. The Discourse. Your source of interstellar news.
This is Eleonori Roden.
And Cerulean Voth.
Stories.
War was formally declared on the 28th of December by Test Commander Pro-God Legend.
And interviews.
And as exits for the defenders were closed off, F4R2 became a charnel house.
Only on Arc Studio.
In this difficult day, in this difficult time, it's perhaps well to ask what kind of a nation we are and what direction we want to move in. You can be filled with bitterness and with hatred and a desire for revenge. We can move in that direction as a country, in greater polarization, filled with hatred toward one another. Or we can make an effort, as Martin Luther King did, to understand and to comprehend and replace that violence, that stain of bloodshed that is spread across our land with an effort to understand, compassion, and love. I would only say that I can also feel in my own heart the same kind of feeling. We have to make an effort to understand, to get beyond or go beyond these rather difficult times. My favorite poem, my favorite poet was Aeschylus. He once wrote, "Even in our sleep, pain which cannot forget falls drop by drop upon the heart, until in our own despair, against our will, comes wisdom through the awful grace of God. Not violence and lawlessness, but His love and wisdom and compassion toward one another. Feeling of justice toward those who still suffer. We will have difficult times. We've had difficult times in the past, but we will have difficult times in the future. It is not the end of violence. It is not the end of lawlessness, and it's not the end of disorder. But the vast majority want to live together, want to improve the quality of our life, and want justice for all human beings that abide in our land. And dedicate ourselves to what the Greeks wrote so many years ago, to tame the savageness of man and make gentle the life of this world. Let us dedicate ourselves to that.
Hi and welcome to the studio. I'm CCP Mimic and we are going to be speaking to the developers who've just brought you the Blood Raider shipyards. And they are, of course, Team Phenomenon. So welcome CCP Your Mama and CCP Larrikin.
G'day. Thank you.
It's very nice to have you in the studio. And for those who don't necessarily follow too closely about what each of the teams at CCP does, tell us a little bit about you guys and what you do.
Well, Team Phenomenon, we're a tools team, and the tools we create are the AI and different sort of structures and ways of deploying that AI into the game. So the artificial intelligence that controls the NPCs that you fly at the Blood Raider shipyard, and the mining operations are things that we've done, as well as spawning, like the shipyard itself and how you find it, and the gameplay surrounding that.
Okay, so what goes into deciding how an NPC will think, seeing as that's basically what you guys are doing, making its behavior and its behavior trees, I believe.
So it's basically mostly just up to the game designer today. Basically, we just build small components for him to use or for anyone to use, and then it's basically just puzzling things together. It's like we create like a tree structure, and you can just basically just drag components here and there and just like decide after this or before this or under these conditions I want this to happen. So basically, it's just for any other team, any other individual to decide like what he wants to do with the tools that we created.
Okay, and as we saw quite a lot first on CC, and especially when the players first found the shipyard where they were testing it and seeing how it happened, a lot of the NPCs seem to group into specific configurations, and I take it that's all part of the behavior, or did something else happen there that was unexpected?
There have been some unexpected things, so it's a little bit hard for us to test everything when it's just like us as a team. It's like we don't know exactly what the player's going to be doing, how many players are going to be bringing, and etc. And sometimes they'll also just get into this weird state where they don't know what to do, and etc. But we've been tackling most of these things right now, and it's looking very, very good at the moment, and especially for our next patch.
So the AI for the feature as it stands at the moment, it kind of organize themselves into three different groups, three different fleets. Actually, we often refer to them as fleets. There's a sort of a short-range, fast signature tanking fleet. There's a long-range fleet that sits way out and will shoot in, and then there's also a capital fleet. And we've developed different sort of rules for how those guys should act and move around the battlefield, which is exactly what you talked about before, which is the behavior tree system. Okay,
and that is in response to what players bring rather than to what we determine a situation should play out like.
We have basically tried to make it so that we have predicted what kind of setups player will be bringing, and we're trying to not only counter them, just bring something that is going to be enjoyable, and to counter them as well a little bit. We haven't figured out everything, like for example the thing that the players use to take down the first structure. We knew about the possibility of it, but we didn't go far enough to try to figure out like a counter for it, or we didn't like take it seriously enough. So
okay, well, on that note, I'm going to break into this interview for now, because we actually had a conversation with the fleet commander of the frigate fleet. So we are going to cut across to that and hear what they had to say, and we'll be back with these guys in just a bit.
I have a special guest with me here, FC for the Goons, Apple Pear. Welcome to the 07 show.
Thank you.
How long have you been with the Goons? How long have you been playing and all that stuff?
Today, while we're recording this, is the day that I play exactly 3 years.
Oh, nice.
And with GSF, I'm now for just over 2 years.
Okay. Have you been fleet commanding for a long time, or?
I started off as a lodge anchor, and pretty much like a year and a half I'm FCing.
Okay, okay. And this obviously was a bit of a special task. First assault on a blood-braided shipyard, and you got the task of being one of the people to lead that. How did that come about, and were you excited to try it out?
It was an interesting experience. Yeah, we tried it first with Macarials. We couldn't do it with that because we had some problems with red cycling, and then had to come up with another thing. And we had a goon in our group, Cynthia Gray, who came up with the Punisher doctrine, find a way to be very fast, so not being hittable by the Citadel, and have a gun type that you only have to press F1 once and keep cycling because you have unlimited ammo.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, I mean, kind of, what was the core reason for like switching from like heavy hitting ships? Then, I mean, was it were the NPCs tougher than you thought, or?
Now, we knew they were pretty tough, but the big problem we had in the end, we got some losses. We lost, I think, 20 billion on the first try with Macarials.
Okay.
But in the end, we couldn't keep damage on it because problem with the guns, the red cycle bug. I believe they are working on that now. But it was one of the problems we had with that. So we had to find a doctrine that could keep shooting, and we didn't have to reshoot recycle guns all the time, and also was less harder to hit. A Macario cost around 500 million, and Punisher around 1 million. So that's I think we lost less in Punishers than one Macario in the whole thing. So that's also a cost aspect.
Yeah, it's
so,
very clever flying.
Yeah, so the person came up with the idea. Jay Mason took it out for the reinforcement. He also took the Punisher fleet out for the kill. I was there with Jackdaws to camp everybody in and try to get as least people in the system as possible, and in the end to defend the structure and finish it off.
Yeah, and in the end, of course, it blew up, and then there was a scramble to grab the blueprints that came out of it, and they all got blown up. Was that frustrating that nobody got a hold of the blueprints in the end?
No, it's better than nobody has it than somebody else than us has it. So that was if we didn't get it, then it's better that nobody has it.
Yeah, I think that's a bit of a relief for everybody who was there, at least.
Yeah.
So in terms of like, I mean, how did you like the new feature, and is there anything you'd like to relate to our developers on you know, what they should change or what should be done in the future?
I like the feature. And people were a lot of complaining on Reddit, etc. about it's only a T1 fleet, but we had 600 people in the system to deal with it. So you can say this is endgame PV. You can say you have to bring the blingiest ships there is, but you can also bring a shitload of people to deal with it. So that's the thing that works, and we are probably going to reiterate on that. Yeah, I like it. It's something different. We have to see if it keeps being interesting after a while. And how it goes, and if it's if the loot is a bit better scoopable. I have seen some ideas for that to make that a bit more challenging for everybody, that not somebody who's sitting on an interceptor on a perch can warp in and just steal it from you.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting. And this is funny because like it reminds me of one of the first times I became aware of the goons was back in the days when you know, we're plopping mission runners with little rookie frigates. So this is a bit of a, you know, going back to the old days. I think it's cool to see.
Yeah, people were complaining that we didn't do it with rifters.
Yeah, but thanks for coming on. Good luck out in space, and I'll see you back on the 07 show.
See you later. Thank you very much.
Hi and welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that. And now we're going to carry on with a little bit more about what happened with the Blood Raider shipyard. And I am, of course, joined by CCP Your Mama and CCP Larrikin. And you guys are part of Team Phenomenon, which built this feature. And what I wanted to move on to is how this all played out. I mean, it took a long time for players to really get stuck into this situation. Was this what you were expecting, or how did that play out?
We actually expected players to find the structure a lot quicker than they did. We expected them to find it pretty much on the first day, and it took them probably about 36 hours longer than we kind of guessed at. But they're finding it pretty rapidly now, and then we expected it to be reinforced much faster than it did. And we saw a couple of attempts. We saw actually the owners of the space where it was, Red Alliance, give it a bit of a shot with some rattlesnakes, and that didn't go so well. Test didn't really try to reinforce it, but they played with it and ran some bombing fleets and killed around about 250 or so battleships and cruisers. And then Goons came back, the Imperium came back and attacked it with a Macario fleet, which didn't go so well for them. They lost about 30 or so there. Then they settled on the frigate tactic, which was fantastic. Great way for them to reinforce it and actually to kill it in the end. I was a little bit surprised that the rest of New Eden let them get away with that on the final battle, but I mean, they paid a little bit, but not that much for it. Of course, then Tess swooped in and stole the blueprint twice and lost it in a glorious ball of fire. So
I think also that one of the biggest reasons why it took them so long to do it is because of the tension that it has and the possibility of being hot dropped by other alliances. So it always keeps them on like a little bit of a awareness, like on the back foot of like their full attention is not on the structure. They're like keeping
what's around them.
Yeah, exactly.
And do you think that the system that this happened to spawn in played into that a lot, like you said, with who owns the space?
Yeah, actually, I was on an interview later on and spoke a little bit with Arith, who's on the CSM, and he said that the owners of the sovereignty are the allies with the Imperium, and Red Alliance actually said, no, this is ours, you can't run it, like, this is for us to run here, so I understand there was some political negotiations there. I'm not privy to all the details, but I think that's pretty cool as well.
Okay, and how much control how much control do you guys have on where these spawn?
0.
Well, we define basically the area where it can spawn, and like for the Blood Raiders, only the 3 regions.
Yeah.
And that's almost it. But we still make sure that there are some restrictions there, like for example, if we wanted not to be close to a specific areas, to another specific region, so we have a little bit control of it.
So
but
when you say not next to a specific region, you
like
mean
for example, if we don't want it next to like a high sac system or anything like not a high sac, low sac system, basically, we don't want that to happen because like there is a possibility of also like we have like we call it, it's like similar to incursions, like I don't know exactly how to call it in player terms.
You'll see more and more of this as we develop the feature, but it's actually has layers to it. So over time, there'll be more and more activity happening in the systems around the Blood Raider. So having it right next to a low sec system would mean
that it would infest into exactly, and we didn't want that to happen. So basically, we just had a little bit of limitation that not too close to high sac or to like neighboring regions, and that's the only restrictions and only control that we have over it.
But we don't care who owns the space. We don't care what's in the space. In fact, we don't pick where it goes. That is just a random roll of the dice, and that's where it is.
The only thing I would care about is our NPCs and them killing a lot of players.
Yes.
It seems like it. I mean, it sounds like you guys don't even really care about the prizes and the loot that drops, and.
That's completely up to the players. I mean, it's out of our hands as well. So.
This is true. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We are now going to go and speak to the player who managed to get the Moloch BPC on the second time it dropped. But alas, he did also burn up in a big ball of fire. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll be back in a few minutes.
Welcome to the 07 show, Hutters. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty great. You made history a few days back. You were involved in one of the most expensive losses in recent history. How are you doing about that?
Honestly, I kind of laughing at it. I had a blast. You know, I wasn't really expecting to get away with it, so all in all, it was just sort of a fun being part of history.
Yeah, for people that don't know, you lost the very first Moloch blueprint that you had in your cargo hold very briefly. How long did you have it before you got blown up?
It was not long at all. I would say absolutely less than 10 seconds. Lucky if it was a little over 5. It was very fast.
Okay, so you had a brief encounter with being the 1%. That's more than most people get, so.
It's true. I lost it faster than most, too, I think.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about, like, this happened during the fight for the first Blood Raider shipyard. Tell me a little bit about, like, what led to that moment. Like, how did you get involved and what was happening?
So I'd actually just joined Test, came over. One of the FCs in Test decided that we were going to take some interceptors, just go mess with goons, see if we could ruin their plans, try to steal it. We didn't really expect to actually get away with it. We took probably like 40, 50 claws over, and we were just warping into their giant Punisher ball that was all over the Sodio. And we would just frag a few, warp out, do it again over and over. Goons formed up their own claw fleet. We duked it out a little bit, called for reinforcements. Eventually, Sodio was just about to blow up. He had us separate into 2 groups. First group was going to go in because we weren't sure how the BPC was going to drop, whether it was going to come straight from the Sodio rack or if there was going to be a can.
Yeah.
So first group warped in right before. Second group was going to warp in after looking for a can. I was part of the second group. So I ended up warping in to a guy about 20, landed me dead center on the Sodio, thinking if it was a can, that's where it'd be. And ended up about 15 kilometers off from the wreck that he died in from initially scooping up the 2 BPCs.
Yeah.
And just happened to get lucky, guessed the right one, ran over, grabbed it, and the rest is history, as they say.
Oh, it must have been pretty thrilling.
Yeah, it's definitely a crazy moment. I was like, no way, it's still in the wreck.
It's crazy.
Couldn't believe it.
So yeah, I mean, it was a pretty crazy fight, I guess. I mean, what do you think about the sort of the new content? I mean, did you have fun?
Oh yeah, I absolutely had a blast. I mean, I have fun anytime I'm getting into a fight with goons. That's just me. So it was always a brawl. Definitely found the mechanics very interesting. I can see them going in a really cool place, which, you know, just some tweaks to maybe prevent the frigate ball that happened there.
Yeah, there's a lot of things we need to, you know, take away from it and look at, and it's one of those features where we really didn't know what was going to happen with it when we put it out. You know, it's just like it's the nature of the feature, and it's pretty fun. So I asked our game designers to try to throw out some figures, like for how much this unique blueprint would have been worth. I mean, it's obviously hard to tell because there's no market data. It's the first one. The number they sort of said was the lowest starting price anyone wanted to name was something like 500 bill as a guess. Do you think that's sort of around the right?
I would say, honestly, that's probably pretty accurate. I had a lot of combos after that kind of went viral. And a lot of people were saying, hey, you know, if you get another one or if you get it reimbursed or whatever, message me, I'll give you, you know, I had 300 bill, I had 400 bill, 500 bill. So definitely a lot of high up offers on that.
Okay, so now we have a bit of market data. That's not bad. But you know, I know it's hard to lose something like this, and I'm gonna let you go and think about that some more. But before you go, I made you handcrafted. Yeah, it's a Moloch blueprint that I made myself.
I love it.
And you know, I can mail this to you, and you can try to build something out of it. I don't know if it's gonna work, but you know, at least it's not a copy; it's an original. So.
Hey, I'll put it right on my wall there. I'll look at it every day.
All right, man. I'll ship it over. I'm gonna let you go. You know, it was great having you on, and good luck next time with grabbing a blueprint.
It's been a pleasure. I appreciate you having me.
All right, man. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
He tried to tell me about this thing he's working on,
The Mentaculus. He says it's a probability map of the universe.
Working on the Mentaculus.
We hope you enjoyed that. And now we're going to go to the CCP art department where CCP Acid Burn, our concept artist, one of our concept artists, has been working on redesigning the Concord frigate. And he's going to take you into the design process and show you how this happens and all the options they went through before settling on this one. Take a look at this.
In the redesign of the Concord ships, came to me to do the frigate, and when doing this, much like with the Cormorant, just wanted to make sure original things were kept, but also that we moved in a new direction with it. And we had like some pretty strong art direction as well. The new direction wanted Concord to be smooth and sleek, kind of like iPod and Apple product kind of casing. And being that these ships wanted to be, or are, the police force in New Eden, they needed to be kind of welcoming to civilians, but also something that was aggressive enough that could protect you or kill you if you're a pirate. Jumping straight into it, I did a bunch of quick sketches in 3D Coat, just trying to find a shape. We knew that we wanted to keep the kind of Y shape that the Concord Pacifier old model had, with a more symmetrical Y shape with that. And I guess a lot of people ask, like, why is everything getting more symmetrical? The answer there is that we can fit more texture space on something that is symmetrical, because you only have to have half of it and then just duplicate it to the other side. Straight away we thought we'd like the Y shape, but let's keep that and take it in a newer direction. Combining these shapes went onto the first pass. We just needed to remind ourselves that the new art direction for Concord was going to be smooth and sleek, one-piece casing. So I started doing more and more of these. We explored big things like massive wings and maybe even inverting the Y. We wanted to try and different things out. CCP Salvo made this thing here, which was his quick little mock-up of how he would like to see the Y shape. Combining that with one of my more successful concepts, I started doing these 4 here. We really explored a lot of these possibilities, but it's here that we started really figuring out what we want to do with this ship. We also realized we wanted to keep the top half very empty and smooth so that we could have potential for skins in the future. It was here we finally got to our kind of direction. This was one of the first ones where we started saying, okay, yeah, that's our ship. And I think it was at this point we handed it off to Casper to start modeling. The design did change after the 3D model came back quite a little bit. But yeah, this was the first kind of screenshot back from the modeling. And it was already, the curve was maybe a bit too passive. Taking this image, I did this paint over to try and bring back something that was there in the thumbnail. We started exploring these kind of back areas here, extending the wings out a little bit more, and also how this bottom fin would connect to the main body of the ship. And so sending that back and forth, these types of quick iterations between myself and Casper, we managed to move it along like quite fast. And he would send back other things like this, so he would get this far in the modeling process and want to know what was going to fill in all of this area. We'd do little paint overs like this. Again, nothing fancy, just enough to kind of show some movement here in the back pieces. Here is another kind of point where Casper had gotten this far in the modeling process, wanted to know what we're going to do with this underbit, this underbelly, how we're going to fit it. So one thing we were thinking about when we were making the ship is definitely the functionality of different parts. And so even with the first concept, we had this kind of undercarriage bit here, and Casper thought, like, how about if we made that a mobile prison unit cargo storage area for all of the narcotics and confiscated items. Yeah, if you're looking at that part of the ship and always wondering what it is, like, it's kind of the original idea there. And we ended up putting like police lights on the top of the ship and things like that. We also had like red lights. These lights are going to be what they're using for scanning. That was the final kind of part there, and then the rest kind of just went into the modeling stage, and then from there on it was modeling and texturing that brought the Concord Pacifier frigate to its completion.
That's pretty much it for us tonight, I think. I think we've run out of content for tonight, but
Unfortunately.
Yes.
But we have a huge summer ahead of us, and then, of course, going in towards winter later on this year.
So much cool stuff happening in EVE during the summer. We have the Alliance Tournament feeder rounds coming up in June. Then we have, of course, the Alliance Tournament starting near the end of July, and we have a CSM Summit, and, of course, releases packed with all kinds of content coming out.
So, yes, so be sure to follow us on all the different types of social media. Subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you know when we are going to be putting out new content, as well as checking out all the dev blogs and the news items that follow.
Yeah, look for us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Subscribe to all that stuff, Snapchat even, and we'll keep you updated with all those things. Yeah, it's going to be a good summer.
It is. And we, of course, are going to be here on the 07 show probably in about a month's time. And on that note, we are going to be holding a contest. We're not quite sure what the prize is going to be yet, but we're going to let you know what the contest is now, and we'll send out a news item in due course. But we want to know what you think the best advice for a new player is. So send that to evetv@ccpgames.com and let us know. And you have a chance to win.
Something nice. But for us, yes, we're out of stuff, so we'll let you go into space once again. And remember that the best ship in EVE Online, no matter what you're doing, is the friendship.